Imagine I told you that you needed to go to California. I give you money, hotel accommodations, and a rental car. But what I don't give you are any directions, any means to get directions, or anything to show you how to get there. I also don't tell you why you're going. You are on your own to figure it out. How do you feel? Welcome to Understanding Backwards Design and Learning Outcome Mapping. I am your host, Dr. Michele Leverett, Instructional Designer in the Center for Innovative and Transformative Instruction at Winston-Salem State University.
So, what is backwards design? Backwards design is a teaching strategy that prioritizes the intended learning outcomes instead of topics to be covered. It's backwards from traditional design because instead of starting with the content to be covered, the textbook to be used, or even assessments or tests that a teacher may want to be passed, you begin with the goals.
Let's look at the traditional way of designing a course. Suppose you wanted to cover the moon in your course. So the first thing that you do is you select materials. You find books, you find videos, you find handouts, all about the moon. Then you identify the relevant content coverage. So suppose you want to talk about the size of the moon, how long it's been in existence, the shape of the moon, how many people have landed on the moon. Next, you plan your learning experience. So you decide that you want students to build a poster presentation and give lectures on all of the aspects of the moon. And then finally, you create an assessment. You give them a test. So what you don't have here is the goal of what you want students to be able to do by the time they finish this section on the moon. Backwards design will call for you to first identify what you want students to get out of this section on the moon. So by the end of this section, students should be able to understand or evaluate something about the moon. Then you want to determine your acceptable evidence. So if that is a test, you can build your test to align with the outcome. Finally, you will plan those activities that will help students be successful with that assessment that aligns with the outcome.
Now that we've discussed what backwards design is and how it differs from traditional design methods, let's take a look at how to use it to map outcomes. We'll use an example from a previous course of mine that deals with negative impacts in African American society.
One of the goals I had for students to be able to do by the end of the course was to be able to analyze racism through the lens of cognitive theories that they were exposed to in class. For an assessment, I built a group assignment called a peer teach, which was a presentation that asked students to explain how one of the two theories, the Crest theory of color confrontation or post-traumatic slave syndrome, deviate from traditional approaches to understanding individual and cultural racism. To ensure the success of assessments, I built activities such as class discussions on the two theories, in-class readings that dealt with the theories, a mini lecture, and a technology implementation called Kahoot, which would quiz them, a low-stakes assignment. Finally, the resources that I used to ensure that they understood the theories were handouts and links to both theories, videos where experts talked about the theories and their impact on society, and finally, their textbook that dealt with the theories. By putting all of these elements together in a table with headings, my end result was a map that I could use to expand to ensure alignment of all of my outcomes. For help with building outcomes that are measurable and observable, consult Bloom's taxonomy. It is a great resource full of action verbs to jumpstart your outcomes.
Thank you for joining me in this presentation. Here are some key takeaways. Number one, at some point, as instructors, we've all used traditional planning methods. However, point number two, backwards design is an easier means of developing assessments and instructions around desired goals, which leads to number three, for help with creating these goals, consult Bloom's Taxonomy. It's an excellent resource to assist with outcome building.
So remember, the next time you sit down to design a course, walk it backwards with backwards design.